The purpose of the MA is to fill a gap, and that's a gap not just in the educational offerings in this country, but more importantly it's a gap in the ability of strategists, of policymakers and leaders in this country and the West more generally to craft and execute effective strategy. So this MA is aimed at anyone from whatever background, whatever their career aspirations, who think that they might like to make a difference.
This is an MA in Applied Security Strategy, and the two key words are applied and strategy. I would expect students who have attended this course to leave with an enhanced understanding of the complexities, the difficulties of decision making and the execution of decisions in conditions of radical uncertainty and urgency. So I think our students will be very well equipped to take on a strategic role in whatever organisation or discipline they choose to go into.
Well, we've used experts right from the outset to help us design a programme that is unique. It'll be unique in what we teach, how we teach it, and the people who are used to teach it. An expert blend of first-class academics and then just a superb network. And what we found is that the more we've gone out to the business community, to government, to former members of the intelligence services, to the armed forces, just to name some of the areas, we found great enthusiasm, great passion, frankly, for this project.
Because we don't just want to be delivering either the theory or the history, both of which are very important. We want to be hearing from people who did it at the time, and luckily through our own networks we've got access to those people in all walks of life. So as we go through certain strategic scenarios or cases, we can then bring in people who are delivering, and we think that's going to be a very distinctive feature of the MA.
So we have people like Sir John Scarlett, who was the last C, the last chief of the Secret Intelligence Service, Bob Ainsworth, who was a Secretary of State for Defence.
The one thing we won't be able to do is put our students through a real crisis. So we've got to simulate that sort of thing, and there's an enormous amount of work that we can do in that area, and there's a great deal of well-developed teaching and instruction tools that we can use, scenario planning, scenario games, war games as they're sometimes called. One of the distinctive features about the MA in Applied Security Strategy is that we're going to have field trips, and there are going to be 2 or 3 of those. One will be to Brussels, to go to the European Union and to go to NATO, to the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, to look at the way complex institutions go about the business of strategic planning and delivery. We'll also then be going over to the Balkans, and what we want to do there is really look at the way strategic plans and choices and decisions, the way they were carried out on the ground, as it were, over time, and the way they were moderated, the way they were modified over time. That's key. Strategy isn't just a matter of coming up with a bright objective and then working towards it. The good strategist, in whatever walk of life, whether it's the military or diplomacy or business, must always adapt to changing circumstances.
Obviously, the news from Iran is very disturbing, and at the moment we are trying to ascertain whether this underground detonation is intended or whether it was accidental.
One of the key features of the MA is that the written or the presented material isn't going to be in this standard mould. So we'll be including things like preparing press briefings, preparing short opinion pieces for a newspaper, preparing policy briefings as you might do if you're a junior diplomat in the Foreign Office. All those sorts of things are very useful ways by which you can learn how to present your ideas. Students on the MA will take part in a conference designed especially for them, which will take place at the Royal United Service Institute in London, and will essentially be a review of the work they've been doing on their dissertation throughout the whole year. They will then be exposed to some really very critical and very senior and knowledgeable policymakers.
The Strategy and Security Institute, or SSI as we call it, has been set up at Exeter as a direct response to the need to fill that gap in the training and education of the leaders of tomorrow. SSI is going to bring together world-class academics and world-class practitioners with the very best and most ambitious students. So whilst it's important for academics to be able to analyse and comment, we want to go further. We want to help to craft the strategy choices of the future.